Thanks for taking the time to join our session today, where we'll be discussing the top factors impacting industrial buying and how manufacturers can boost their sales in the era of digital commerce and omnichannel sales. We'll be looking at latest research on the industrial buying journey, the pain points experienced, and how manufacturers can address the challenges facing digitally native and savvy buyers. My name is Sriram Ramadurai, and I'll be your host for this session today. And I currently lead a global product marketing team here at Tacton Systems. And before we introduce our speakers, here's a short background on Tacton for all our new attendees. So Tacton is a global software vendor co-headquartered in Sweden and Chicago. We specifically focus on developing software as a service solutions for complex manufacturing to address their configuration, pricing, and quoting/proposal needs, and help manufacturers reimagine their digital sales transformation. We are known in the industry for our innovative and well-built product and have been recognized for 2 consecutive years as a leader in the Gartner Magic Quadrant for CPQ application suites. So now let's turn over to our speakers, and I'm excited to welcome 2 speakers to this session. First presenter for us would be Thomas Wrana. Thomas is a B2B sales thought leader for industrial clients with Accenture. His primary focus is in helping industrial clients in digitizing their sales process. He'll be sharing some of his insightful buying journey research with us. And thank you for joining us, Thomas. Welcome.
Welcome. Thank you.
And then, thank you. And then we're also joined by Tacton's Senior Product Marketing Manager, Rohdin, to address some of the capabilities that are required in the modern buyer journey and how manufacturers can provide a transformative selling and buying experience across all channels and help basically boost their sales growth. Right. So having said that, let's kick off the session with Thomas's industrial buying research and go from there. Thomas, please take it away.
Thank you so much for having me. And let me just share with you the latest of an Accenture study. The good news here is the study is in the progress of getting published. So what you hear now is really hot out of the press. When we talk about customer experience, CX, it's covering the customer journey from a B2B client searching for a product, a solution till after sales. And what we regularly do is doing research to better understand what B2B customers expect. This time we did it a bit differently, and that gave us really interesting results. First of all, but that's typically, we had a global focus. We conducted the study end of 23 worldwide. We talked to contacts in the US, in Germany, and in China. As I said, we covered the entire customer journey, and this means we start from the first problem statement: I need a software, I need a solution, I need a product, until the end of the journey, which is typically after sales field service for a B2B client. We talk about all the interactions clients typically have. And what we did differently this time was that we did not talk to our clients, but to the clients of their clients. Meaning we talked to more than 70 senior executives, mainly in the purchasing department. And we interviewed them about their buying experience. What we also did is, to get the most out of this interview, we used unguided interviews to really not pinpoint in a specific direction, but really get the most out of the interviews and also detect kind of hidden pain points, which you perhaps would not really find if you do a guided questionnaire. The target of the study was to get the latest and greatest on customer journey, and also honestly to demystify a bit this B2B buyers expect an Amazon-like experience. I think this has been said for so many years now, and partly it still holds true, but only partly. So the target of our study was also to detect, where is this Amazon-like experience true, and where might be like different views, because B2B buyers are different compared to B2C buyers. In the end, it shall help to basically derive actionable strategies out of that, and just improve the customer experience. So let's get into the results and look what are the main pain points on the customer journey in total. And on the next slide exactly, you found the top pain point, and this is all about reliability. And you see the color coding here. So purple one is non-behavioral CX driver, which means this is product or service related. The red ones, they are all behavioral drivers. So they are all related to behavior and activities you do. They have nothing to do with the product. And this is honestly pretty interesting because you see the majority of the pain points do not have anything to do with the product itself. So this is perceived as being good, but it's all what happens around the product. And this to me gives also a very good, let's say, tackling point to improve the customer journey, because in some cases, these are really like easy fixes and quick wins to improve the customer journey. As I said, reliability and convenience were named as the top drivers, and they count for half of the pain points. And I would really like to drill it then down to the steps you have on a customer journey. As I said, we were looking at the searching part of a customer journey till then the entire flow for after sales. And this now gives a really interesting result if we deep dive these topics. On the next slide, you will then see that at the beginning of the customer journey, when you're searching a product, when I say product, by the way, it's always including a solution, software, service, so the entire bundle. When searching, you expect that this is convenient. So this might then, depending on your specific business, mean that a client can, for a very long time, just do this on a self-service mode because this is convenient for him. The same still is true when he gets down the customer journey and starts comparing and selecting products. Still there, it's about convenience. But then the picture changes a bit when you come into the process of purchasing and delivering an installation. Then reliability gets the most important driver for customer experience. What does this mean? What is reliability in that context? So typically, think about the following use case. You start configuring a more complex product. You perhaps even get a price for that. Then you expect this product you configured, you priced, and you even got a quote for that this is exactly what you will get delivered. So there should not be any deviation. And believe it or not, but there are cases that you can configure products which still cannot be built. And this is then creating a lot of frustration. Meaning in this two steps, even at after sales, but just going down the line, the customer journey, in these steps, reliability is the most important driver, followed by convenience. Responsiveness, by the way, is also important, but that to me is also a kind of quick win. Just think about latest technology and how fast you can react to even simple customer requests. So when I now take these results and think about a CPQ vendor like Tacton, what would this mean? What can you take out of this? And this is what you see on the next slide. First of
Yeah,
all,
no, just to clarify, right, in the previous slide, what you're basically saying is there are different types of issues or pain points that are seen across the
yeah,
journey, and that's what you're laying out. And at the end, what you mentioned was with respect to the responsiveness piece, the generative AI technologies and the new technologies might even further alleviate those issues, right? And now
absolutely.
let's look at uh, what it means for industrial companies. Okay.
Yeah, perfect. So, what does it mean for industrial companies? Think about how you can enable for a reliable configuration. Reliable means whatever is there and can be configured must also be producible, buildable. And it sounds very logical, but it's complex if you really think it through from all the involved systems and what happened there. But this is just number one priority. Think about the customer experience. Think about how the convenience element of the customer experience can be included. And I mean, what can this be? I see, for instance, a trend of offering packages and not like single products, packages for specific use cases, because you just cannot expect a user to know everything about your product. So it might be more like offering modules or solution. Another important element to me is the omni-channel element, because to me it combines reliability and convenience. Just think of that there are many different channels a request can come in, and the result still should be the same. So combination of reliability and convenience. And I talked a bit about the latest technology, Gen AI, and this just from my point of view will help tremendously to improve convenience, especially if we think about this responsiveness example. I think this is a good and easy example where you can directly improve the customer experience.
Yeah, no, for sure. Many of the customers that we deal with at Tacton, the complex manufacturing space, they are going through a lot of these type of convenience issues, and we'll be talking with Per here a little bit about how some of those challenges can be addressed. But your research is pretty insightful here. I was just curious, there's a lot of different things you find out as you're researching this. What was like most surprising or stood out from the research when you're evaluating and when customers are looking for software like CPQ and they're trying to look at these type of pain points that are coming in? Right?
Mm-hmm. So what was surprising, and I was really happy about this result, is that you had like different UX drivers in different steps. And to me, this means like that you can address within the different phases of the customer journey, different topics. And this just slices and dices this huge elephant in the room a bit in consumable pieces. As I mentioned, this responsiveness example. This is just one tiny little piece, but it helps, and at which phase of the customer journey it helps. And the other important thing about, honestly, I didn't expect reliability being so important. And when just thinking about CPQ solutions, I would then rate the topic of reliability even higher. And what would that mean then if you think about selecting a vendor? To me, then the connection to whatever ERP, PLM system you have to ensure that whatever data you configure, whatever is configured there, is also producible. This I would give an even higher importance to my selection process.
Interesting. Yeah. I've spent some time in the manufacturing space, and from what I understand, many of the pain points you're conveying are, have been around for some time, and different folks are trying to address it in different ways. And do you think there's an urgency to try to address these challenges, or what is your opinion on that?
Oh yes, there is an urgency. We did a study 3 years ago, and we already there saw that many industrial companies, they would agree to whatever we saw here, but they are still a bit reluctant to start the transformation journey. And if you look at it like, oh, the others are not starting, it might slow down the whole industry. But I would see it exactly from the opposite. I would say there is a super need to start as soon as possible addressing these needs and improving the customer journey, because then you are still a forerunner. You're still ahead of the curve. That's why I feel there is a very, very, very high need to do so. And honestly, the pandemic has shown that companies who digitized their entire sales processes are just the winners. So there are examples of customers who just shortly before the pandemic opened e-commerce shops, and they were really, really, really successful. So yeah, there is a need, and please start.
Yeah, no, I think I'll have one last question before I turn it over to Per in the interest of time here. With the many projects that you've been associated with and the many industrial clients that you work with, many of our audience is possibly already having some type of coding solution or going to their second phase and stuff, and they're going through implementation projects. Are there any blind spots that you see that they should be prepared for or think around as they work on these projects?
Yeah, absolutely. Perhaps I would not even call them blind spot, but additional opportunities. And I see two topics there. What happens very often at many of the clients I had is that you think about, what did I do in the past and how can I put this into the future? And I think this is a missed opportunity. I rather would take the approach of, how can I redo my offering perhaps? How can I simplify processes? How can I simplify my offering? And then think about going to the next level. So the blind spot is just thinking about replacing an old solution by a new one. But I think there are many more opportunities in redoing processes, might be even going into organizational topics, thinking about who does what in an organization, supported by whatever technology you use then.
Okay. All right. Excellent. Thank you so much for that. We'll now let's turn over to Per and see if he has any specific ways of addressing some of these challenges and pain points around convenience and reliability that you talked about. And we'll look at how we can improve sales growth for companies. Right.
Okay. Thanks a lot, Thomas, for this. Let's see how we can address some of the pain points that was described here, and we'll focus specifically on convenience and reliability, which were the main pain points described by Thomas. The reason why these pain points appear is the divide between the buyer and modern buyer expectations of how the buying journey should happen and what the B2B seller actually can execute in terms of sales. So as you know, the modern B2B buyer expects digital touch points, immediacy and self-service as a prerequisite for being empowered to do the purchase themselves on their own. Always value-based, focusing on the value that the investment is adding to. And also, of course, that there is an accuracy of product price and delivery data all across the buying journey, all through the different iterations that the buyer is going through. Whereas on the seller's part, they are still, many manufacturing are still sort of on analog and physical sales. They rely on direct sales or partner sales only, unable to provide the digital sales journey. Slow response times, as we've seen, most likely, especially for customizable objects and products as we speak here, there are often a lot of reliance on back office functions, which gives a slow response time to the difficult inquiries that buyers often puts ahead of them. Oftentimes there is a focus on product features rather than value, which deters the modern buyer. And there is also inconsistent product and pricing across the buying journey and across channels, as we heard Thomas speak about already. So overselling is another thing that often appears in these journeys. So this is really a divide between expectations and execution. And if you don't bridge that gap with smooth, flawless, and fast digital commerce solutions, buyers will turn to your competitors, and the buying allegiance will change to your competitors instead. So there is an urgency around this. And the challenge that we are facing here is really how to bring the power of configure price quote. We talk about these highly customizable B2B manufacturing products. How can we bring the configure to order power that we see on direct sales to other sales channels, such as partner sales and customer self-service? And how do we make the B2B buying procedure smooth and transparent, that customers themselves can define their solutions, certain to a large extent? So that's really the challenge here. And the products we're talking about here are not off-the-shelf kind of standard products, but are high value, highly customizable, often in terms of sizing and functionality and performance, very different and very tailored to the use case of the existing customer. So that's the challenge, and that creates complexity all through in product introduction and sales and delivery, of course. Okay, so what are the critical capabilities to bridge this divide between seller and buyer? One thing is, of course, easy to set up and easy to maintain. There's a lot of product data and logic associated with configuring highly complex products like this. We often take pride at Tacton to talk about one source of truth product definition, where sales and marketing and engineering are all aligned with the product data in the configuration tool. But that also applies to the different channels. So if you're going to have a successful and reliable sales journey and buying journey, you need to ensure that all of your sales channels are relying to using the same one source of truth product definition. That means product data as well as pricing and document and so forth. And that gives the consistent omni-channel experience. You have the same price and the same product data regardless of the channels that you engage with. This also means that the updates to your products is also available to all sales channels at the same time. So your latest innovations and your price list will always reach all sales channels at the same time, making your setup and more easy to maintain at a lower cost. Of course, you need to be able to embed the CPQ anywhere and anyhow. So not only do you have to have a rich API to be able to express the different configuration tasks that a typical buyer is performing, but you also need to be agnostic. So you need to be able to embed this on a website, on a customer portal or a partner portal, or e-commerce platform. So the APIs that you present and that you work with has to be sort of platform agnostic. This is really important because our manufacturing companies often embed these in many different ways. But not only that, you also need to ensure that the GUI, the UI of that configuration experience is embeddable, that it's composable, and it's brandable in a sort of low code kind of way. So think about the different aspects of a configuration UI. You have the shopping cart, you have the sales bomb, you have the different configuration questions, you have visualization perhaps, you have conflict resolutions. There are many features in your configure to order solution, but all of those UI needs to be no code branding. You shouldn't be able to require front-end development skill sets to be able to launch and to embed this into any website. So this is something that we are working on right now at Tacton. Appearing after summer, hopefully we have a good set of embeddable and composable UI components for all of the complete set of configuration tasks. And also, of course, the page layout. It should be flexible. You should be able to put the visualization and the sales bomb and pricing in anywhere you like, where the customer wants to have it. Trustable and reliable configuration. We saw in Thomas's presentation that reliability is really, really important. So a good configurator and a good configuration technology is a must here. Otherwise, you will not be able to separate between valid products and unvalid products, or non-billable or non-profitable products. That's the core functionality of the configurator, so that you can have a 100% accurate technical solution and bill of material ready to be sent to ERP with good accuracy rates. So that's one part, that's forgiven. But you also need to have a configuration that is able to express all of your product variants. It needs to handle large and very different kinds of machinery with hundreds of options and thousands of parts, and expressing millions of product variants, still with good configuration performance. Because the reason why this is important is that if you want to do a full sort of digital commerce, you need to be able to offer your full portfolio on your digital commerce channels, in your self-service channels, because the customer expects your full portfolio to be available in all sales channels. So that's important to point out, and that's an important criteria to look out for when deploying a CPQ. We cannot expect end customers to be product experts in the way sales reps are. We need to allow them to focus on value rather than tech, rather than product features. So even a non-technical buyer should be able to configure complex industrial equipment with accuracy and good product fit. Needs-based configuration is really important here. Customers don't know about what tires or what engines maybe you should select for a truck, but should be focusing on the business outcomes of the machine that they're configuring. Also, in Tacton, we also have what we call optimization, as you see on the lower hand screen there, which means that not only are you guided by needs and requirements, but also that you can actually select the best product within all the valid selections that you've made. So business drivers, lowest purchasing price, lowest total cost of ownership, highest uptime, highest performance. Those are the kind of purchasing drivers that we expect the buyer to deal with and to focus on during the configuration. So focus on value, and optimization during the configuration is a must. One way that we have made also configuration easier is by, we have a new feature coming out this fall called Product Selector, which means that it's more easy to find the right starting point for your configuration. That means that if you have a catalog of many configured products, this is a way to find the right product configurator for your business needs, basically. So making configuration easy is also important, and that also includes visualization, for instance, so that you have immediate pricing and sales bill of material after every configured selection, so that you understand the implications of the selections that you're making in your configurator. We also know that buying industrial manufacturing products is a complex process. Normally, we hear about procurement teams that maybe are 5 to 12 people, often driven by some sort of organizational change. So buying a piece of manufacturing equipment like this is complex, and we need to empower the buyer with different kinds of documents and information so that they can make an informed investment decision. So in your digital sales commerce solutions, it needs to be providing self-generation quote documents, terms, of course, CAD drawings, layout plans of where the machinery is going to be placed, and all of this, and visualization, of course, as well, that can be shared within the buying team across the buying journey. Again, maybe we have hundreds of iterations through the buying journey, and these kind of documents needs to be able to be available to the end customer at any time. And this will really speed up the buying, the internal decision process in the buying team. So this is also important.
And I would like to add, if I may, Per, that the decision making in many of the large manufacturing organizations, the decision makers are fragmented across different departments because they are located, and they're the supply chain managers might be involved, finance might be involved, marketing might be involved, and obviously sales is involved. So it helps. They have different requirements, and all these different pieces help them in the whole decision-making process as well.
Yes, exactly. Another aspect of B2B buying is that it's a long journey. There's often a request for quote involved, and the sales cycles are really long. And one thing that you all know, if you are selling this kind of equipment, is that once the RFP is formulated, or the RFQ is formulated by the customer, it's really difficult to change the requirements of the customer. And that's why it's crucial to reach the customer, the prospect, very early in the buying journey, because that's the point where you can actually influence the ways in which the RFQ is formulated to your advantage. And this is what we would call lead generation in Tacton. And it's a way to put the configurator, that can express the full portfolio and the full variance of your product, but with a no pricing context. So you allow anonymous customers or prospects to play around, to explore this full portfolio, and learn more about your products and your options and your solutions, and thereby perhaps influencing the ways in which they will then formulate the RFQ, which will then be sent to you as well as your competitors. But then you're a step ahead of your competitors, because the customer has already learned about your product and solutions included in the RFQ. So this is also important to increase the win rates of your digital sales and B2B manufacturing sales. Finally, one last slide about the capabilities. It's really important that the different outcomes of your configuration are integrated and consistent. So as you do your configuration results, you have pricing, you have CAD automation, you have visualization, you have a quote document, and this, of course, happens hundreds of times during the buying journey. But it's important that these different modules are actually showing consistent information, that the data is 100% correct. Because if you do configuration with one vendor, you do pricing with another vendor, you do maybe CAD automation and visualization with a third vendor, you're responsible for ensuring that the data shown in those different outcomes are consistent and correct. And that will create integration hassles and, of course, more maintenance costs for you. But if we have an integrated sales execution tool, that a CPQ that allows us to synchronize across these from one vendor, you will have a much more accurate and deal data from that standpoint, and more consistent buying journey for your customers. So what's the success? What's the business value of all of this if you manage to have these critical capabilities? Of course, self-service and digital sales will enhance your deal attraction. You will get more customers. They will convert better. You will be able to have a global sort of market footprint, because not relying on direct sales, but actually growing your channels into a global sort of digital commerce. You boost the conversion rates. Your customers are able to leverage all these self-service capabilities that we've seen and better than convert the deal. You can diversify your sales portfolio. You can sell your full portfolio online, and you speed up the time to market, as we saw with one shared product definition. Of course, with digital sales, you lower your sales costs. You're not reliable on direct sales in the same way as you've done before. You minimize errors and increase reliability in terms of CPQ in general. And you cut your introduction costs for new product and your latest and greatest innovations. So there are a number of revenue increase and cost reduction effects coming out of this package. We in Tacton, most of the solutions that you've seen here that I've talked about is in an option or part of our portfolio called Omnichannel Sales. So I would recommend go to our website and learn more about these capabilities there. And of course, we've had a number of customers that have benefited from these business outcomes in the past. And here are some of them, and you can learn more about these on our webpage.
Okay. Very good. Thanks, Per, for that walkthrough there. You know, I saw a lot of different newer words like composability being mentioned, and then obviously we know that majority of the manufacturers are trying to see how they can attract the new digital native buyers. How does CPQ, maybe you can break it down a little bit more, how does CPQ kind of play with the, you know, you had like the digital commerce mentioned in the previous slide. How does the CPQ play and overlap with the whole digital commerce setup that manufacturing as a whole is going towards?
But it's interesting that the digital sales or digital commerce platforms and the CPQ platforms are becoming more and more intertwined, but still there is a great divide between them. I mean, if you're a manufacturer and want to go in this direction, you have two choices. Either you select a CPQ platform, and many of those are still sort of focusing on direct sales and not so much about digital commerce. So, but on the other hand, you can then choose a digital commerce platform, but then oftentimes that they don't have the support for the configurability and the trusted configuration that you require for your product. So you're a bit of in a twilight zone there. Tacton is I think the only one that actually can bring those two worlds together. And it's also interesting to notice that in the Gartner's Magic Quadrant for digital commerce, actually CPQ is mentioned more and more there as a prerequisite for a successful omnichannel experience within manufacturing.
Good. Excellent. I think we're pretty much done for the session today. So if you want to check out more about Tacton's impact on transforming sales across different manufacturing verticals, please go check out our testimonials on the link shown here. And if you have additional questions for Thomas, again, thank you, Thomas, for joining the call and helping us walk through your buying research. You can reach him at thomas.wrana@accenture.com. Again, thanks everyone for the time.